How do we become good defensive drivers? Defensive driving is simply this: doing everything you reasonably can to prevent collisions, in spite of the actions of others and the conditions around you. To be a truly responsible defensive driver, you have several important skills to be mastered and remembered. Though this may seem daunting, it is a simple matter of knowledge, application, and attitude. As a responsible driver, you must realize that you cannot predict what others will do, and that you must try and constantly anticipate possible defensive driving measures. A preventable collision is one which you, as the driver, fail to do everything reasonable to prevent it. The statistical reasons for learning defensive driving skills are compelling. In the past year in Canada, there were over 2,900 deaths and over 225,000 injuries as a direct result of collisions. Over 85% of these collisions were assessed as being preventable. Stated a different way, nearly 2,500 people would not have died, and a further 190,000 would not have been injured if drivers had taken appropriate defensive driving measures. One of the measures to be learned is the Standard Accident Prevention Formula. The SAPF is composed of three aspects: recognizing a potential hazard, determining the defensive reactions available, and acting in sufficient time to prevent a collision. Stopping distance is impacted by several specific influences: perception, or the time it takes to recognize a hazard; reaction time, which is a physical movement of your foot to the brake; and the third influence is the actual braking distance it takes for your vehicle to stop under these specific road and weather conditions. Stopping distances, as they relate to reaction time, can be vastly improved through the use of eye lead time. Drivers need to be constantly looking ahead for potential hazards. In the city, you should be scanning ahead 12 to 15 seconds from your current position on the road. For highway or rural driving, you should be looking at least 20 seconds ahead, or as far as the eye can see. It is always a good idea for drivers to constantly keep their eyes moving, looking ahead and also in their mirrors for potential hazards behind. When coming to a stop behind other vehicles, you should allow a comfortable bumper of space. A good rule of thumb is to make sure you can see the first vehicle's rear tires touching the pavement. All of these measures will help you keep a comfortable time-space cushion. This cushion is particularly crucial when driving on highways. A good way of maintaining a safe following distance on the highway is to use the time interval formula. Essentially, you want to keep a minimum of 3 seconds or more between you and the vehicle ahead in order to allow sufficient stopping distance. Using fixed objects along the highway, such as a traffic sign, when the vehicle ahead of you passes it, begin counting 1,001, 1,002. We are too close. We need to open the distance by reducing our speed. 1,001, 1,002, 1,003. There now. We are where we should be. In slow, heavy traffic, the 3-second rule also provides excellent distance and protection to you and your vehicle. If you are driving with a trailer, then you need to allow additional room for stopping because your vehicle is much heavier and less maneuverable. Add 1 second of following distance for every 3 meters of trailer length. If you get a tailgater behind you, then you need to allow more room as well. The best way to build a good safety cushion is to add his 3 seconds to yours. Thus, you should gradually slow down to allow a total of 6 seconds between you and the vehicle ahead of you. The tailgater would probably find the space ahead of you irresistible. Defensive driving is also recognizing conditions and adjusting to them in time to prevent a collision. There are 6 variable conditions that influence our defensive driving skills. The first condition to consider is light. Ensure your lights are working and adjusted properly. It is important to keep them clean in order for them to provide you with maximum visibility. In conditions of bright light, it is important to see and be seen. Wear sunglasses and use a sun visor. Weather conditions can really impact on visibility and road conditions. You and your vehicle have to be prepared. Adverse weather can affect steering, braking, and ultimately your control of the vehicle. Wet roads are particularly slippery because the oil and grease, which build up on the road surfaces, are not washed away immediately. Wet leaves, sand, loose gravel, mud, snow, and ice can lead to skids, so reduce your speeds when conditions are slippery. Varying road conditions can affect a driver's stopping distances and maneuverability. Potted roads, sharp curves, steep hills, and construction areas are all hazards we must be mindful of. Slow down and take the time to safely pass through these areas. When driving, we must take care to recognize the hazards posed by traffic density, pedestrians, bicyclists, and even animals. Slowing down will provide you with adequate space and time to avoid a potential collision from these hazards. Take care of your vehicle. It's worth the investment of time and effort. You should frequently check your headlights and turn signals. Do your wipers do the job? And do you have plenty of washer fluid? Have you recently checked your tires to ensure they are properly inflated and that their tread is still adequate? We all sometimes forget to check, but it is important to have your vehicle in top condition when you need to perform to help prevent a collision. One of the most important factors to consider is driver condition. What is your attitude for driving? Are you relaxed or mad and anxious? Are you going to be attentive when driving, or will your thoughts be somewhere else? Are you rested or fatigued? Have you had medication or alcohol, which may undermine your reaction time and decision-making processes? Are you truly mentally and physically ready for this trip? If you answer no to any of these, you are not prepared to drive defensively. Many drivers who drink and drive do not fully realize the consequences of their action beyond the possibility of an accident. The short and long-term consequences are significant. Those who depend on driving for their job may lose their employment.
Good evening, sir. We're conducting ride check. Any alcohol tonight?
Not tonight, no.
Any alcohol in the vehicle?
No, none.
I seem to smell some alcohol. I think we'll need to do a test. Just move off to the side in front.
Consider the stress on your family and friends if you need to be driven everywhere. Your car insurance rates will go up dramatically. And what of your legal costs related to your defense in court? Thousands will be spent, and your chances of success are slim. Over 80% of all drivers who are charged with impairment are convicted. The consequences could include jail time. What will that do to your family? Be honest when assessing whether you should drive if you had anything to drink. A lot depends on it. Well, there you have it. Defensive driving is simply this: doing everything you reasonably can to prevent collisions, in spite of the actions of others and the conditions around you. By mastering skills such as safe following distances, understanding the hazards relating to differing road conditions, and even regular maintenance of your vehicle, this will all lead to better defensive driving. Remember, defensive driving saves lives, money, and a lot of grief. You can do it.